Hello, I'm Diane Birnholz. In Indiana, the Marion County prosecutor charged Fox Sports analyst and former NFL QB Mark Sanchez with felony battery, alleging that Sanchez threw or shoved victim Perry Toll, which resulted in a serious bodily injury and extreme pain for Toll. Hotel videotape shows that Sanchez was wobbling around in the alley before he allegedly attacked Toll, and witnesses say that Sanchez smelled of alcohol. When Sanchez was interviewed in the hospital afterward, he told police that he didn't remember what happened. So, can extreme intoxication be a defense here? Well, the answer depends on whether a defendant's intoxication is involuntary, meaning if he was forced to consume alcohol against his will or maybe was tricked into it without his knowledge. This would be like the scene in the Alfred Hitchcock movie North by Northwest where the bad guys force Cary Grant to guzzle bourbon and then they put him in the driver's seat of a car where he gets picked up for DUI. Now that would be involuntary intoxication. So do you think that's what happened here? We don't know all the facts of what Sanchez was doing earlier in the evening, but it seems pretty unlikely that someone spiked his soda at dinner given his reported history with alcohol. According to the U.S. Sun, one of his former NFL teammates said, "It had to happen to a guy like him because he absolutely crosses the line when he drinks." Sanchez was also arrested back in 2006 when he was a star football player at USC, but no charges ended up being filed. USC did fine him, though, for underage drinking. So assuming that Mark Sanchez voluntarily consumed alcohol, the law is that voluntary intoxication is not a defense to a class of crimes called general intent crimes, but that it might be a defense or at least a partial defense to specific intent crimes. So then the question is battery a specific intent crime? And just so you know the difference, a general intent crime is where the defendant intends to commit an act, such as shoving somebody else, but there's no requirement that the defendant intends to achieve a specific result, like inflicting extreme pain. A specific intent crime, by contrast, would require the prosecution to prove that a defendant had the intent to commit an act and the intent to achieve a specific result. Generally, the crime of battery is not a specific intent crime as it doesn't require proof of intent beyond just the general intent to commit the physical contact, which here is touching someone else in an offensive manner. Because battery is a general intent crime, voluntary intoxication is not a defense. And according to police in the Sanchez case, video and witness statements establish Sanchez's repeated and successful efforts to do just that, to touch Toll in an offensive way by getting in Toll's truck, chasing Toll around the truck, shoving him, and body slamming him. And furthermore, the Indiana Criminal Law and Procedure Code answers the question for prosecutions in that state. It provides that intoxication is a defense to prohibited conduct only if the intoxication resulted from the introduction of a substance into a defendant's body without his consent or when he did not know that the substance might cause intoxication. Now, those two scenarios likely don't apply here. Plus, keep in mind that it's very unlikely a jury would be sympathetic to any intoxication defense if Sanchez voluntarily drank alcohol before attacking Toll. The trial is set for December 11, 2025 in Marion County, Indiana. I'd be surprised, though, if this case actually goes to trial, because Sanchez's lawyers have an uphill battle trying to establish self-defense, as I talked about in my last video, and it doesn't seem likely that an intoxication defense is viable either. Perhaps there's more to learn in this case, but I believe that a plea agreement, perhaps with alcohol treatment, seems to be a likely result. Separately, Sanchez also faces a civil lawsuit from Perry Toll. Thank you very much for watching.